What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I ran the Blade Barkley, Bronx Bully. Really good fighter. Really good humanitarian. He was born May 6, 1960, weighed 160 to 175 pounds. He stood 6 foot 1 inch and had a 74-inch reach. He was from the Bronx, New York, Patterson houses. He had total bouts of 63, 43 wins, 27 knockouts, 19 losses, and 1 draw. The majority of his losses came towards the end of his career. But he would lose to Dennis Milton in 1981 for the silver medal at 165 pounds, New York Golden Gloves. He would win a gold medal in the Empire State Games in 1981, but he would begin his professional debut December 9th, 1982. And I was at that fight at Atlantic City. We were all waiting to see Iran Barkley turn professional. January 6, 1984, he would lose to marvelous Marvin Hagler's half-brother, Robbie Sims. Now, Robbie Sims was trying to follow the footsteps of his older brother, marvelous Marvin Hagler. But Marvin Hagler was just one of a kind. And Robbie Sims would get the victory over Iran the Blade Barkley. He would face Esteban Pizarro, who was also in Atlantic City. He would face Wilfred Scipion. He would score an 8-round knockout. October 17th, 1986. Iran Barkley would face James the Heat Kinchin at the Felt Forum. I was at that fight. And James the Heat Kinchin was ranked number 1. He was the next opponent for marvelous Marvin Hagler. And he was mandatory to have a fight on that particular date. Couldn't sit around. And many asked him, why would he take a fight with Iran Barkley when you're ranked number 1 with Marvin Hagler? You have nothing to prove. But he took the fight. And Iran the Blade Barkley scored an upset. He would defeat James the Heat Kinchin. And everyone was surprised, because this would now put him on the map. But he would lose to Sumbo Colombe. Sumbo Colombe would be knocked out by Michael second to none years later. The straight left hand in the very first round. But Barkley would lose to him October 23rd, 1987. But he would defeat Sandalye Williams January 29th, 1988, Atlantic City. I was on all those Iran Barkley fights, the majority of them. And Iran Barkley was something else. But then he would defeat Michael the Silk Olajide, who scored TKO in the 5th round, March 6, 1988, at Felt Forum, New York. And I can't say the name of the person. I never forget, just like yesterday, Barkley was told, you better not let this silk, shaggy-headed, greasy-headed MF beat you. I'd never forget that. And Barkley, right in front of me, said, I'm not going to let this greasy-headed defeat me. Unbelievable. Those are the days. June 6, 1988 would be the year that he would knock out former WBA welterweight champion and junior middleweight champion, now WBC middleweight champion, Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Now, I did a video explaining this, and I believe I said it was Atlantic City. I stand corrected. It was Las Vegas. I was at that fight. And This was probably the upset of the year. Because Iran Barkley would look at the floor, throw an overhand punch, catch Hearns. Hearns was never the same. He was wobbling all over the ring. Eventually, he'd just be knocked out. Iran Barkley punched that hard. I remember watching him spar in the gym plenty of times. And you can hear the blows all across the gym. Fascinating puncher was Iran Barkley. But when he knocked out Thomas the Hitman Hearns, they had an actual ticker day parade for Iran Barkley when he got back to New York. I mean, this was something else. It's like winning a Super Bowl. Of what he has gone through and where he was at that time. Salute to Iran Blade Barkley. He knocked out Thomas Hearns in the third round. But then he would lose 3 fights in a row. Roberto Duran, Michael second to none, and Nigel Benn. That Nigel Benn fight, he was hit in the back of the head. He never recovered. And he tried to protest that fight. But the rules state, protect yourself at all times. And because of that rule, Iran Barkley lost the protest. But he would continue. He would face Darren Schoolboy Van Horn. And he would challenge the WBA middleweight champion of the world, Thomas the Hitman Hearns. It seems like Iran Barkley had Thomas Hearns' number. Just as quick as he won it from Virgil Hill, he would lose it to Iran Blade Barkley. And then Barkley, that belt would be up for grabs, and Virgil Hill would win that belt back. Can't make these things up. But I gotta tell you, Thomas Hearns and Iran Barkley, I would never forget. Barkley was a very good fighter, but he would stay on too long. He would go on and face fighters such as Jerry Cortez. Now, Jerry Cortez would defeat Michael Dokes. He was a South African, still hanging around. And he would knock out Michael Dokes and win a WBA heavyweight championship. Michael Dokes earlier would defeat Mike the Hercules Weaver. So Jerry Cortez would face Iran Barkley. Barkley would lose. He would also lose to Trevor Berbick. But what was interesting, he would face a fighter that just made a comeback by the name of Craig Payne. Craig Payne was a heavyweight hopeful in the 1984 Olympics. And he never made the Olympic team. Terrell Biggs did. But he would face Greg Payne. And it just showed at the point of Iran Barkley's career, we're talking heavyweight, where he was. But I remember that Iran Barkley was a middleweight, strong puncher, banger. He had a sister by the name of Yvonne. She was a boxer in the 70s. She was a street fighter, knocked out men plenty of times in the street. Iran Barkley was convinced to get into boxing with Mitch Blood Green. You see, these men were involved in a gang called the Black Spades. In passing houses at that time, if you didn't know somebody, you would get taken for everything you had. There was nothing but strong-arm thugs and hoodlums there. And that's what Iran Barkley was under. He was a member of 8 siblings. And he was the youngest. And he had to survive. He had to know how to take care of himself because they would take what you had. It's just the way it was back in his time. So salute to Iran Barkley. Salute to Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Barkley was one of a kind. I first met him at the Felt Forum. He was standing with a burgundy sham shirt, burgundy British Walkers, a pair of slacks. And he greeted me, I was coming in. Real cool brother, Iran Barkley. Salute to Iron Barkley. Salute to my subscribers. All great fighters and all great fights will never be forgotten on my channel. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Thanks for visiting the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Salute.